Hey, what's up? Well, I'm making another video finally, and I'd kind of stopped making videos for a while because, um, you know, it's getting close to Easter and we've just had that full moon, and I want this video to come out around Good Friday because I'm hoping to splice two videos together if they're not too long, because this is going to be primarily an unboxing video. And what's very exciting about it is that you see how this one came in this beautiful hot pink envelope. I'm not going to show my address, but I'm wearing my two Easter necklaces, pink and blue. And basically, I think this was the other one that came in a kind of a blonde yellow or a beige envelope. Well, this one is very exciting because it comes in a blue envelope, and it is of the same nature as the pink and the beige or blonde package that I opened before. So, it's very exciting as to what it is, and hopefully there'll be a fourth package coming in tomorrow of a similar size, of a similar nature. No telling what color it'll be, but I would like to unbox this one so that I can do something with it, and hopefully this will go as planned. You see, they put some tape on it. Gonna cut the tape, which I don't think that'll open the package. I think it's still gonna be too sticky. Let's see, that's tape. I think it's gonna be too sticky to really do anything but cut it. So, very happy thus far. It says thank you very much. And it's this nice blue envelope, which you'll see why that should be very appropriate. Love it when they color code their envelopes so that you know somewhat about the package. You know, a little bit. You throw the envelope aside and you still have some idea as to what was in it. And looking good thus far. Looking good. It's something I debated on ordering, and as you can see, you see why blue is such an appropriate color, and why I'm so glad that they did that, because you see you'll have blue, pink, and yellow to represent blonde hair. And what makes this one special, not only is he wearing blue, but he is the one and only Hispanic looking boy in the Honey Hill Bunch doll series. And as you can see, they gave him kind of long hair, which is why some people think they're just all girls. But with a shirt like that, I mean, I know there was supposed to be a little vest. They were supposed to have like a dress or a vest, and each one of them had like a top that most of them don't have anymore if they've been played with, because most people lost them. And so, if I could ever make sense of his hair, you would see that although his hair is kind of long, he is a boy. And in the 1970s, what people don't realize is that that was the time of long hair on men. And so that's a lot of times they would do that. They would have a series where every doll was pretty much a girl, except for maybe one white character. They call him Spunky, but I call him Sam. and one non-white character. You know, they might have a white boy, usually blonde or brown hair with blue eyes. Always blue eyes. And then they'd have a non-white character with black hair and brown eyes. Other than that, they were all girls. All of them. Every single one of them. And I have fun combing his hair. But I was going to kind of give him a hair trim because, you know, as I've stated before, he is a boy. You know, I mean, you can tell by the eyebrows that he's clearly a boy. He has thick eyebrows and no eyelashes. So to me, that says boy. And he has kind of a defective face. You know, something got on him, which is why he was at a discount. And he doesn't have his guitar. But he's kind of like the Elfmates in that he has one piece of Velcro to hold hands with other dolls. And, you know, if I could ever make sense of his hair, you see, it's long, but to me, is still very much within the male range of hair length. And that's what people don't understand, is that back in 1975, I mean, grown men were wearing their hair longer than this. And so I think after a trim, it will be very plainly obvious that this is one of the two male dolls in the series. And instead of Solo, which is the name that they gave him because he was like musical, I'm going to call him Hugo, you know, because there was supposed to be an H for Honey Hill Bunch. But I just like that name, Hugo. It's a Spanish version of Hugh, H-U-G-H, so it has an O instead of an H at the end. And I think it's short and simple and Hispanic and masculine, so that there's no confusion that this is a little boy doll. All right, next thing I'm going to do, as I've stated before, I was going to give him a hair trim, but I just couldn't do that wearing sunglasses. And so the way you do a hair trim on a doll or even a human, you ponytail their hair, basically, so that the excess that you want to cut off is basically the ponytail. Okay, and I have my hair cutting scissors and everything. So I'm not going to trim much off, you know, because I don't want to destroy the doll. I want him to maintain as much integrity as possible as what he was. But I'm going to quickly trim off just a little bit of excess hair. Just a little bit of the hair that was hanging down. Not much. Okay, just a little bit. So you can see that I made him a little white ponytail. So, because he's got black hair, you know, if he was blonde, I might give him another color, like a black ribbon, a black hair tie ponytail, for contrast, so that I can see where I'm cutting. And so I cut off a little bit of that excess hair. And so what we're left with, you know, you don't want to cut it too close. You're left with basically a longer hairdo, and then you have the sides. And so, you know, I was just going to trim up the sides a little bit, not much. Or I could, really and truly, I could put that part of it over, because you got to decide the way you cut the hair. You want to decide how you're going to comb it. Okay, because once you cut it off, you can't get it back. Okay, so you decide, what hairdo am I going for? Okay, and I'm kind of going for kind of swept to the side, but you want it neat around the bottom. Okay, so might go ahead and trim it up. Okay, so here we have yet another kind of low-hanging ponytail in the back. And so that is a guide for which hair to cut off. Okay, you don't want to cut it too close. then you don't want it hanging off too much. Okay, so there you have it. A little boy, and when that ponytail is removed, it should be plainly obvious from the length of his hair, or lack thereof, that he is a little boy doll. Okay? He's the one and only non-white, so to speak, boy doll, although Curly Q looks pretty androgynous, and IQ, you know, it's kind of silly how they had Curly Q as the black character and IQ as the Asian girl character, and she had kind of short hair. So she looked like she could be a boy, almost. So, let's see. I think we ought to trim the sides up a little bit. And so the way you do that is you make ponytails out of the hair on the sides, like that, and you cut those off. So as you can see, I've made a ponytail on the left side of his head now, and I am going to cut it off. So be very careful. Okay, now take that out. And it should be plainly obvious on that side of his head. Might have to put some hairspray in there to kind of relax it. Or he could just kind of have messy hair. So it should be plainly obvious from that side, from that angle, that he is not a long-haired girl. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same thing to the other side. All right, the last step is to ponytail this side of his head, his right side of his head. And I think you should know by this point what I'm going to do with that ponytail. And since it is the last step, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the ribbon, cut the hair tie. So that, although I got cut hair all over the place, on the doll, on me, everywhere. Cut hair everywhere. That, let's see, that is our end result. A little Hispanic boy named Hugo, and his hair might be a little bit on the wild side. Might need to tame it with some hairspray. But you can tell that he is not a long-haired girl doll like Darla, or even as long-haired as Sammy. So there is our other token boy, our token non-white boy. Yeah, it's funny how they always make the blackest character, the whitest character and the blackest character are always girls. You know, the boys, they tend to either be like brown hair, blue-eyed if they're white, or Hispanic looking at the darkest if they're not white. So, you know, either a Latin lover or some kind of a brunette white guy. So I find that interesting how the boys, they have some diversity, which is pretty much the only way you get multiple boys in a series is, you know, the call for diversity, which I'm all for that. But, you know, they're just not quite as diverse as the girls. And so there you have it. A little boy, formerly called Solo, which I thought was stupid. You know, I mean, why would anyone name their kid that? And I'm going to call him Hugo. So then I'll go ahead and post this video.